sideways I slide through the square. I'm hoping so hard for a kiss from God. I miss the sweet love of the air. A silver chariot soars through mercury ripples of sky. I'm looking so hard for a place to land. I almost forgot how to fly. So keep on moving or stay by my side. Either way, I'll tell you a secret I've never revealed. However we are is okay. A silver chariot soars through mercury ripples of sky. I'm looking so hard for a place to land. I almost forgot how to fly. So keep on moving or stay by my side. Either way, I'll tell you a secret I've never revealed. However we are is okay.
Good morning. Welcome to everybody here in person, as well as everybody on our World Wide Web community, to Unity Spiritual Center Spokane. As our mission states, we are a vibrant community growing through spiritual practices and love. I'm Alan Bassan. I'll be your platform assistant this morning. If everyone can do just take a second and silence your cell phones right now, it would be appreciated. As we do each week, we want to begin our time together by sharing our opening affirmation. We need to really believe this right now more than ever. Together we affirm there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. This is Unity's foundation principle. One presence, one power, and one life living through and as each and every one of us. We are grateful to have Professor Nick Gier here this morning to share a message on judgment and acceptance. Our music today is provided by Scott Jameson and Lauren Jameson.
So, and I made a small mistake. It's actually Lauren Jameson Davis, by the way.
Well, Darlene Walsh-Martin will provide us with an opening prayer, but first our song leader, Lauren Jameson, will start us off with a community song.
Yeah. Please stand if you can.
I am grateful for God's presence in my life. I am so grateful for God's presence in my life. I am blessed, I am blessed, I am blessed. I am so blessed. I am grateful for God's abundance in my life. my life. I am blessed, I am blessed, I am blessed. I am so blessed. I am grateful for God's love in my life. I am so grateful for God's love in my life. I am blessed, I am blessed, I am blessed. I am so blessed. I am grateful for God's peace in my life. I am so grateful for God's peace in my life. I am blessed, I am blessed, I am blessed. I am so blessed.
Put aside your cares of today and enter the quiet center of your soul. Let's start with a deep, healing breath. Inhale deeply and let the air out slowly with a quiet, relaxing sigh. And as you do this, relax completely. Allow the chair to support you. Send your roots deep into Mother Earth. Straighten your spine and stretch it to the heavens. Let the energy of the earth and heaven meet in your heart. Let that energy fill you, top to bottom, front to back, side to side. God is love. God is magnetism. God is harmony. God is unity. As Charles Fillmore reminds us, God does not love anybody or anything, but God is the love in everybody and everything. God is love. Humans become loving by permitting that which God is to find expression in word and act. I am one with God's love. I am an irresistible magnet with the power to draw unto myself everything I desire. I am the harmony that soothes troubled waters. I am one with all things, including God. As Paul wrote in his letter to the Colossians, above all, clothe yourself in love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And as I am one with God's love, so are each of you. For love is one of the 12 powers gifted to us by God. In this realization of God's love, we deny any sense of separation. We know that all is one. We know that we are part of the whole, a drop of water in the ocean. With love, I bless our speaker, our musicians, and all the volunteers that make this service possible. I bless the center, and our community. In the spirit of love, I find the unity and the harmony in today's message. Knowing all is unity, I release this prayer to a loving God, knowing it is already done. I am grateful to know that there is nothing to fear and to know that God is love, and so it is.
I've seen your face, it's whole again. This life can embrace your soul again. Well, I look for ways to control again. Well, life can embrace your soul again. I've found a way of healing. This life can embrace your feeling. Oh, I look for ways to conceal again. When life can embrace your healing. I've lived for days to find a way back to my soul, to find my place. Oh, I look for ways to survive today. When life can embrace your shine again. I've seen your face, it's whole again. This life can embrace your soul again. Oh, I look for ways to control again. When life can embrace your soul again. And I've found a way of healing. This life can embrace your feeling. Oh, I look for ways to conceal again. When life can embrace your feeling.
Good morning. My name is Cheryl Miller Arndt. Nick Gier will be our speaker today. And we are honored to be able to be with you today. I will lead out in a meditation after he speaks. Nick received his doctoral degree from Claremont Graduate University in philosophical theology. He taught for 31 years comparative religion and philosophy at University of Idaho. He has written 5 books and authored 70 book chapters and professional articles. Currently, he writes a biweekly column for local and regional newspapers in the subjects of religion and politics. That says it all, doesn't it? Nick has asked me to read the following epigraphs to introduce his topic today. The first one is by Ram Dass. The second one is by Diane Burke. Ram Dass. You go out into the woods and you look at the trees. Some of them are bent and some of them are straight. And you look at the tree and you allow it. You appreciate it. You see why it is the way it is. You sort of understand that it didn't get enough light, so it bent this way. You sort of understand, too, that something changes when you get near humans. You lose all that. You are constantly saying, you're to this, or I'm to this. That judging mind comes in. And so I practice turning people into trees, which means appreciating them just the way they are. Diane Burke says, the major block to compassion is the judgment in our minds. Judgment is the mind's primary tool of separation. And now I present Nick as our speaker.
Good morning, Unity Spokane. I've given many talks over the years at the Unitarian Church in Moscow, and I've also taught world religions to the pre-adolescent kids at that church. I never had courage enough to take on the adolescents. And I always thought that that congregation was my favorite audience. But now, after I've got to know most of you over 11 years, you are equally my favorite. Loving and accepting. One of the greatest joys was to have the opportunity to team up with Cheryl, this lovely lady, and do joint talks, 2 at the Unitarian Church, and now this will be our second for Unity of Spokane. I always joke that we should take this on the road. We enjoy it so much. But there are just a few problems. I don't have the big hair. We don't have a TV station. And our GoFundMe fund for a private jet has not really done very well. So here we are. We'll be happy with local engagements. I always thought that our team is a perfect, near perfect unity of brains and spirit. I read recently that George Eliot's Silas Marner was a common read in high schools in the late 1950s and early 60s. I'm wondering if you were forced to read Silas Marner as well. I suspected that was the case. I couldn't figure out what was going on in that novel. I did learn one word, though, and that was, I stumbled on it last night. Cheryl, there was a fellow who was frozen in place. Catatonic, thank you. Missing words these days. But this fabulous quotation from George Eliot made up for all that reading in high school. A friend is one to whom one may pour out the contents of one's heart, chaff and grain together, knowing that gentle hands will take and sift it, keep what is worth keeping, and with a breath of kindness, blow the rest away. True friendship is based on complete acceptance of the other, and that must mean that we refrain, as much as it is possible, from judging the friend. Ideally, as Ram Dass suggests, we should treat all people as uncritically as we do treat trees and other things in nature. We can look upon a good friend with compassion because we know that what they've been through, and we know the reasons they may be a little bent or crooked. There's a Chinese equivalent of Ram Dass's analogy of the trees. The Chinese philosopher Zhuangzi reminds us that when the foresters come for the straight trees, the gnarly and crooked ones are left behind for us to admire their beauty. He also tells the story of the parents who have a new appreciation for their crippled son after the army recruiters came through town and took away all of their able-bodied sons to war. I'm always struck by how judgmental our eyes are. We judge things that we hear, an accent. We just went through the South, and it took a bit of adjusting last month. Malapropisms always, sting, and odors. I won't even mention the little boy in the elevator, but it is sight that is the most critical and presumptuous. I once fell in love with a woman's radio voice, and then, much to my dismay and embarrassment, I found that I did not like the way that she looked when she appeared on TV. What some call lookism might be as bad as any other form of discrimination. When I met one of Cheryl's nephews for the first time last month in Chattanooga, he, as we sat down to lunch, launched into a tirade about Kamala Harris. I found myself getting angry and judgmental, and I begged him to change the subject. He persisted, and I patiently answered each of the falsehoods. After lunch, encouraged by his loving aunt, each of us returned to our centers, and we did not speak of politics again. When I was traveling in Southern Oregon, my daughter and I were taking the ashes of my father to our crypt or whatever in Medford, Oregon. I stopped by my favorite lake in the mountains, and my daughter and I were walking along the edge of Lake of the Woods. There were some kids in the bushes, and I heard one of them say, "Look, there goes an old hunter man." That really stung. They scattered before I could reprimand them. I have you know I'm 51 years old. And this is a very sophisticated Tilly hat that I'm wearing. I thought he was a cute-looking kid until he made all those assumptions about me. The reciprocal nature of negative judgments is at the core of the often quoted New Testament passage. Do not judge, so that you may not be judged. For with the judgment you will make, you will be judged, and the measure you will give will be the measure that you get. That's Matthew 7:1 and 2. Like Jesus, the Buddha warned about judging others. He was especially critical of a certain monk named Miksala, who claimed to know the future punishments of all of his friends and acquaintances. We know far too many Christian Miksalas. But even the all-seeing and all-knowing Buddha did not know the complete karmic history of any person. So he rebuked Mixala, saying, "How do you know the complexity of human character? And whoever judges others digs a pit for themselves. Those who constantly speak of the misdeeds of others are usually the most in need of reform. They also need our compassion and acceptance as they heal." Thich Nhat Hanh has become one of the foremost representatives of Buddhism in the world, South Vietnamese monk. He sort of shocked the world when he said that we should forgive the pirate that raped a 12-year-old girl on one of the refugee boats off the coast of Vietnam. But he says, think of this, quote, "If I'd been born in the village of the pirate and raised in the same conditions as he was, I'm now the pirate who is not yet capable of seeing, understanding, and loving." For Thich Nhat Hanh, true compassion seeks understanding, not judgment. Just as a tree has been terribly bent by constant winds, so too could this man have been consistently abused and deprived as a child. Perhaps it is because I'm very far from being enlightened, but I think I have good reasons to condemn the pirate. Han's unconditional acceptance of the pirate ignores the issue of individual responsibility, which is fundamental to the law of karma. I think the Buddha would insist, without exception, that people reap what they sow. In fact, Thich Nhat Hanh has his own answer to this radical acceptance and compassion. In his extensive writings on compassion, he warns of idiot compassion, which he believes is the same as therapists call codependence. This condition comes about as a result of forgetting that you are in the compassion equation. If you allow others to treat you like a doormat, you are simply encouraging them to abuse you even further. If we give the pirates in our lives a free pass, it is unlikely that they will ever reform themselves. We must learn to accept others, but we should do that with some reservations. We should, of course, empathize and try to understand, but we should also try to seek justice in these situations. Compassion and justice are virtues that we should strive to attain, but that must mean that we find the right balance between them. I was introduced to Marshall Rosenberg by my wonderful partner. In his book, Living Nonviolent Communication, he's a clinical psychologist, he quotes, "Accepting others does not mean that we have to like what they're doing or saying. It doesn't mean that we have to be permissive and give up our needs or values. In some cases, when people are behaving in a way that threatens our needs or our safety, we may even need to use protective force." This is why Gandhi was not a pacifist, and neither am I. But that's a subject for another talk. In the case of the pirate, we should do all within our means to stop piracy and bring them all to justice. In general, we are justifiably angry about the great injustices in the world. But we should also follow Rosenberg's advice, quote, "Unconditional love requires that no matter how people behave, they trust that they will receive a certain quality of understanding and acceptance from us." South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Committee is one of the best historical examples of combining justice, compassion, acceptance, and understanding. When I was about 20 years old, I nearly drowned in a lake in southern Oregon. My entire life appeared before me, video-like, in what seemed to be an instant. When I touched the ground, the rest of the typical near-death experience did not occur. Almost without exception, those who come close to death, they see a bright light at the end of a dark tunnel. Christians identify this light as Christ, and Buddhists see it as the Buddha. The being of light embraces the spiritual pilgrim with open arms and unconditional love, even the most evil, and also those who have taken their own lives. In Tibetan Buddhism, those who accept the Buddha's embrace without hesitation are free from the cycles of existence. But those who do not believe that they are worthy find themselves, after 49 symbolic days of personal accounting, falling into the wombs of their mothers for their next lives. I once thought that last judgment should be self-judgment, but that's not quite right. Last judgment should be acceptance. And that's what's happening during those 49 days of personal accounting. The life review, you come to terms with everything that you've done, everything that you've been. And then nirvana might be the result of that. Since I started coming to this church 11 years ago, I've always appreciated the openness that unity offers to the major world religions. I've discovered profound similarities between unity principles and Buddhism. I've come to believe that the Buddha nature is much like the Christ-like. It is right in the center of our being, and is where there is no judgment, but only acceptance, compassion, and love. I will conclude with this beautiful piece of advice from our own Jan Kraft Lineweber. She sent it out just after the election. This, by the way, is an election talk. You came here to be a beacon of light. Where is the light needed most? In darkness, of course. Your light is needed in this moment. Blessed be and amen.
I re-invite you now to relax, to close your eyes, to loosen any tight places in your muscles. Feel your feet on the ground. Lean back in your chair and start breathing deeply. Keep breathing deeply from your abdomen. Several different long breaths. Imagine yourself walking down a path on a warm, sunny day to an exquisitely beautiful setting in nature. The air is filled with promise, and the birds are singing joyfully. You find a soft, grassy spot and sit or lie down. You hear a message in the gentle breeze that is blowing. What is it saying to you? You watch the bright leaves slowly waving on tall, protective trees. They seem to smile a welcome at you as you smell the sweet freshness of the plants and flowers all around you. You suddenly remember the admonition of Jesus. Behold, the lilies of the field, they toil not. But King Solomon, in all of his glory, was not arrayed like one of these. And the loving Creator cares about every sparrow that falls and knows you with tender, constant embrace. You immediately realize that, like the trees and the birds, you are safe, so safe. You are loved forever by Source of Life, grounded in the Christ light, shining your gorgeous colors through a powerful divine prism, which is you in your unique patterns and shades of light. You recognize now who you really are. And from a higher perspective, you say, all things work together for good, and nobody and nothing is against me. In this moment, you might be willing to silently join me as we affirm to Spirit this: I am a point of light within a greater light. I am a strand of loving energy within the stream of love divine. I am a willing pilgrim led by the wisdom of Goddess, and thus I stand. I am a way by which people may achieve. I am a source of strength, enabling them to stand. I am a beam of light shining upon their way, and thus I stand. And standing thus, revolve and tread the ways of humankind, but know the ways of God. And thus we stand. Amen.
Hate casts a long shadow. I know that I lie in it. Let it rule my mind from time to time. escaping an old battle, clings on like a vine to me, whispers dirty lies in my ear. I know we didn't start this fight, and I wanna let it rule my heart tonight. I can change, I can change, I can still change, I can still change. Chasing an old pattern, drawing the lines from where I am and from where I want to be. Forget that old adage, the history continues to keep us from the world we want to see. I am scared that I won't get it right. The fear won't rule my heart tonight. I can change, I can change, I can still change, I can still change. I can change, I can change, I can still change, I can still change. I can change, I can change, I can still change, I can still change. I can change, I can change, I can still change, I can still change.
And now is our opportunity to give back financially to our beloved Unity Spiritual Center. Besides giving in the sanctuary, there are a number of other ways you can give. As you see, you can text any dollar amount to 509-215-2552 on your phone. You may go online to unityspokane.org and push the donate button. And you also may mail a check to Unity Spiritual Center at this address and online. You may wish to consider a legacy to this center too when you might be ready. And now I ask you to join me out loud with the blessing of giving, please. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share.
So Gati introduced this. Gati introduced this song last week, and I feel it's worth repeating. So please join in. The lyrics are very simple, so when you catch on, just bring it in. I close my eyes, open my heart, and I say thank you, thank you, thank you. I lift my voice, I raise my hands, and I say thank you, thank you, close my eyes, open my heart, and I say thank you, thank you, thank you. I lift my voice, I raise my hands, and I say thank you. I close my eyes, open my heart, and I say thank you, thank you, thank you. I lift my voice, I raise my hands, and I say thank you, thank you, thank you.
And now I ask you to close your eyes and bow your heads, please, for a prayer of gratitude. We are so thankful, source of life, for these many blessings that we have, layers of them remarkably. And we remember another admonition from Ram Dass, who says, in challenging times, if it were the beginning of the apocalypse, what would the world need from you? The quiet mind, so you can have and give the open heart. In challenging times, if it were the beginning of a great leap forward in human consciousness, what would the world need from you? Quiet mind, so that you can have and give the open heart. And so it is. Thank you, God.
All right, we want to thank Scott, Lauren, Professor Gier, and Cheryl for a super service. Thank you, guys. And Nick, I've got a suggestion for your, instead of GoFundMe for a jet plane, you should change it to maybe a bicycle built for two. All right, join me as we say our unity statement. Together, unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, for we know that there is only one power, one presence, and one life. So whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey of transformation, you are welcome here. If you're here for the very first time, we have a welcome packet with a coupon for a free beverage from our barista stand and some other goodies. So please raise your hand and keep it up so our ushers can find you. There's one there. Well, if there's anybody else, we're glad everybody's here. If you'd please join us after the service in our fellowship hall, we can get to know you a little better. We encourage everybody to sign up for our e-news to learn more about our upcoming classes and events. You can sign up for our email newsletter by scanning the QR code you see up on the screen or on our Unity website at unityspokane.org. We would also like to connect with everybody on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search Unity Spiritual Center Spokane, and you'll find us. Thanks to everybody joining us today. Our chaplains today are Gary, who has been holding this service in prayer, and Al, who will be available to pray with you immediately following the service right down front here. So if you have anything that's heavy on your heart or a joy that you want to share, please avail yourself. Thanks to our chaplains for their service today. We would also like to encourage anyone who is in need of prayer support to fill out a prayer request form found in the seat pocket in front of you, and put them in our prayer box that you'll see as you exit the sanctuary on the left-hand side. Prayers are added to our prayer list here and prayed over for 30 days by our prayer ministry as well as Silent Unity. So now it's everybody's favorite time of the day. It's news you can use. It's full of upcoming events and opportunities. After this service today, we have an orientation to Unity and our center. If you are new to our center and are ready to learn more about Unity and the ways to get involved here, join us after the service in the library, which is right behind there. It's about 30 to 45 minutes, and we'll have this every second Sunday after service. Our upcoming class on learning and death will now start tomorrow, Monday, November 11th, 5 to 7 p.m. for 4 consecutive Mondays. And it's taught by Amber McKenzie. You can still sign up if you'd like, because you haven't missed anything yet. She will help you shift your views to see the spiritual truth of death and dying, and do some planning with your workbook. To sign up, you can reach out to Deanna, or use the e-link, or just show up. A new opportunity called Living the Talk begins next Sunday, November 17th. If you would like to dive deeper into the morning's message, join Juliet Inouye and Ron Kurtz to connect and reflect on the message that day. We will have 3 consecutive Sundays, November 17th, 24th, and December 1st, starting about 10 minutes after the service in the small chapel. Last, we have 2 special announcements that special days we want to remind you of. Our Thanksgiving Eve service is on Wednesday, November 27th from 6 to 7 p.m. with soup and bread to follow. Our family candlelight Christmas Eve service is on Tuesday, December 24th at 4 p.m. Our speaker next week will be Al Coningsville. Right now, if they're ready, let's bring in the youth. Hey. Well, it was a slow roll, but it was worth it. We are so blessed to have such an amazing youth ministry here at Unity Spiritual Center. Let's bless all of our young people and those in service to our youth ministry with our children's blessing. Together, be the love you are, sing the song you hear, share your joy of life with people far and near. And for all of us, be the love we are, sing the song we hear, share your joy of life with people far and near. All right, guys, head on back. right, we want to take just a second to honor anybody who has ever served in the military. Would you please stand? Thank you all for your service. Now please stand as you are able and join together for our closing prayer for protection, followed by the peace song. Together we affirm, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The power of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well, and that's the truth.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be.